Andrea, let me start with this issue over all things having to do with Trump and this federal judge. First of all, he has been attacking this judge based on ethnicity since February. Take a look.
I believe he happens to be Spanish, which is fine. He's Hispanic, which is fine.
I think he's been very, very unfair with us. I think the judge has been extremely unfair.
The judges in this court system, federal court, they ought to look into Judge Curiel, because what Judge Curiel is doing is a total disgrace.
He's a Mexican. We're building a wall between here and Mexico.
Just to get this on the record, his attorneys have not filed a motion asking the judge to recuse himself.
Exactly.
So the rhetoric doesn't match the actions.
You have to think that what he's trying to do, perhaps if there's a strategy here, is to force the judge to take himself off, saying that this has now become too political. The judge, under the ethics rules, is not allowed to argue back. He can't defend himself in the public arena. He can hold Donald Trump in contempt. He's got a lot of other weapons. But people in the judicial conference, people in the judiciary are horrified by this. Constitutional scholars are concerned. People who have not criticized Donald Trump are saying that this questions the separation of powers, and it is blatantly racist. There is no other way to describe going after this judge based on his ethnicity.
Of course, this is not a legal strategy. It's a political strategy. He's moved beyond the dog whistle. This is a racist bullhorn to tell the rest of America that if you're not white and you're not a Christian, you can't judge me.
Well, and the fact is that the lawyers haven't filed a motion for recusal because there is no basis to file that motion. You cannot move to recuse a judge because the judge is of Mexican descent. He's an American, he's a judge, and Donald Trump is trying to litigate his case in the public on the presidential campaign. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I think at some point the Republican Party has to begin to look past just one election. And it seems to me that this sort of focus on a single election and winning a single election is one thing. But really thinking about where is the party headed? What does rhetoric like this do to a party that in 2012, after the 2012 elections, had tried to assess how successful it could be with minority voters? And I mean, it's a fundamental question.
You know who would try to assess this? Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump in November 2012, right after, November 26, 2012, to Newsmax. The Democrats didn't have a policy for dealing with illegal immigrants, but what they did have going for them is they weren't mean-spirited about it. They didn't know what the policy was, but what they were is they were kind. Romney had a crazy policy of self-deportation, which was maniacal. It sounded as bad as it was, and he lost all the Latino vote. He lost the Asian vote. He lost everybody who was inspired to come into this country. Where's that Donald Trump, Ron?
I'll tell you, well, we just heard it. Senator McConnell just told you. The party of Lincoln wants to win the White House. That's how cynical this is. It's just about winning the White House, to your point. It's a short-term strategy, long-term strategy.
Well, and this is a party that is going to lose not only, they've already lost a generation of African Americans, multiple generations. They're going to lose a generation of Latino voters, and they are going to lose the American public because, they're not willing to call out. And for Senator McConnell to say that the party of Lincoln is only interested in winning is a pretty shameful statement.
The fact that John McCain, because of the Hispanic vote, is at risk of losing re-election after 5 terms in the Senate and being the party's standard bearer and being someone universally admired in many quarters, Republican and Democratic, because of the top of the ticket. And this would, of course, also contribute to losing the Senate. I think the metaphor here is what Jim Brown just said about Muhammad Ali saying money is not God, human dignity and integrity matter. Winning is not everything.